of delegates from across China are gathering in Beijing for the start of the country's most prominent annual political event, where leaders will signal how they plan to steer the world's second largest economy in the year ahead and try to dispel deepening concerns about the challenges it faces. Projecting confidence would be high on the agenda for President Xi Jinping and his top Communist Party officials during the days-long, highly choreographed event known as the Two Sessions, when China's rubber-stamped legislature and top advisory body convene. The largely ceremonial gathering is assuming heightened significance this year as China's economy has been roiled by a property sector crisis, hefty local government debt, deflation, a stock market rout and tech friction with the US, all fueling questions about whether the country will lose steam before it reaches its goal of becoming a developed global power. It will also include a significant break with tradition, the scrapping of a closing press conference with China's premier, a political tradition that has featured in the gathering for 3 decades, at times providing a rare window into the thinking of China's number 2 leader, who is nominally in charge of the country's economy. The press conference would also not take place for the rest of the current 5-year political cycle unless there are very special circumstances. That's what the government spokesperson said ahead of the legislative meeting's opening day, citing other interview opportunities for the media. Now, this year's legislative gathering will last 7 days, a shorter format compared to what was the case prior to the pandemic. The changes are likely to add to broader concerns about transparency around China's policy making and further dim the premier's profile, which had already been impacted by Xi Jinping's hardline control over all policy areas, including the economy. Now, under Xi, the Premier and the State Council, which functions as China's cabinet, have been increasingly sidelined. That also means Xi Jinping is heavily under the spotlight as economic pain has sparked growing frustration within China. The gathering comes 1 year after Xi began a norm-shattering third term as president, having consolidated power at the top of the party and stacked its leadership with a raft of officials who appear to be selected for their loyalty. A year later, as an expected post-COVID recovery has yet to fully materialize, young people in China are struggling to find jobs, investors are grappling with market losses, and small business owners are fighting to stay afloat. Skepticism has been growing about the direction charted by the leader and his new team. Xi Jinping has also overseen a political shake-up in his own ranks, further marring the start of the new term. Those challenges may not pose a threat to Xi, who is China's most powerful and authoritative leader in decades. But how his team addresses those concerns will have implications, not only for the future of China and its 1.4 billion people, but the global economy at large. And Xi's top officials are likely stepping into the meeting feeling that pressure. Policymakers, investors and business owners in capitals across the world will also be watching closely, especially in a year when America's presidential election could further strain the relationship between the world's 2 largest economies. Now, the 2 sessions provide an important platform for China's notoriously opaque government to broadcast its strategy for economic, social and foreign policies and announce key indicators including China's economic growth target, its budget deficit limit and military spending for the coming year. It's also an opportunity for elite leaders to hear from delegates who hail from across the country in different social sectors, though the space for such exchanges at the gathering and in general has shrunk as Xi Jinping has tightened ideological control and overseen a drive to crush views that deviate from the Communist Party line. Observers will be parsing how leaders discuss or comment on key issues like China's position on the self-governing island of Taiwan, its relations with the United States, and bid to strengthen innovation as Washington bolsters tech export controls. The announcement of the economic growth target for 2024 set to be delivered by Premier Li on Tuesday is amongst the most important issues to watch during the 2 sessions.